Welcome to your new moon forecast. My name is Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer. In this video, I will be going over the energy for the new moon that we are having in Sagittarius, and I will also be touching on the Mercury retrograde energy. So for the first portion of this video, I will be going through the new moon chart, and then for the second portion of this video, I will be getting into all 12 rising signs. And when I get into all 12 rising signs, I will be touching on the new moon and the Mercury retrograde. That way you're able to see how all of this energy is showing up for you personally. So let's get right into it. So this new moon is taking place on December 12th, the day I'm recording this on the day of the new moon at 20 degrees and 40 minutes of Sagittarius. So you can adjust for your location on the planet so that you can get an exact time by putting the new moon at 20 degrees and 40 minutes. So Sagittarius rules our belief systems, philosophy, adventure, and freedom, optimism. And Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Now we have Jupiter retrograde here in Taurus at 6 degrees. So having Jupiter retrograde can already bring this energy of defeat or, lack of optimism. And that's kind of something we've been navigating the last few months. Now, another energy that's very potent right now is Neptune. We've been going through a lot of Neptune energy, and the new moon is squaring Neptune. Now, last week on December 6th, we had Neptune stationing direct. And so there's a lot of, fears coming up, self-sabotaging, self-undoing, confusion, illusion, delusion, getting in your own way because you're overthinking something. That's a lot of what we've been through and can still show up, with this new moon. And we're going to be navigating this for a little bit longer. There's a lot of confusion right now about, direction and what should you be doing and which direction should you be moving in. And it's, Mercury stationing retrograde, which can add to that. It's Jupiter retrograde. Now, once we get into the new year on December 30th or 31st, we've got Jupiter stationing direct. It depends on your time zone if it's the 30th or 31st. And then on January 1st, we have Mercury stationing direct. And so as we get into the new year, whatever you're kind of navigating right now will start to piece together. You will have more clarity on the direction that you should move in, the choices you should be making. Now, if we touch on Mercury retrograde for a second, Mercury is going to station retrograde at 8 degrees of Capricorn and move back to 22 degrees of Sagittarius. And so this area of your chart is going through a reevaluation, rethinking. This is all those RE words, you may be revisiting something, reevaluating something in this area of life. Capricorn is very much an energy of determination, dedication, hard work, forming a plan for something. Mercury in Capricorn wants a plan. You need to make a plan. But with Mercury being retrograde, it's this urge to make a plan, but there's like this fogginess as to it's almost like knowing what the plan should be, but a fogginess on like how to get there, if that makes sense. Now, Mercury is also sextiling Venus. Venus is in Scorpio. Venus is the ruler of Taurus, which is dispositing Jupiter. And so, this is where, these deep, intense fears can be coming up, these subconscious fears where you can be self-undoing, self-sabotaging, overthinking things, getting in your own way. This can feel very intense. Now, what we want to do is try to tap into the Scorpio energy of passion and spirituality, intuition, staying and also to, trying to find the positive and staying optimistic is going to be key through navigating this energy. It really is. And it can be difficult, and it's going to need, self-awareness to catch certain things when they show up for you, whether it's self-deprecating thoughts or self-undoing behaviors, fears bubbling up, to catch those and flip it, transmute that energy, turn it into something positive, and just know that you're always on your highest timeline and, trusting divine timing and staying optimistic. And by the way, when I am saying this to you, I'm literally talking to myself because I'm going through this energy just like everybody else. And it's so interesting because as I'm like saying this, I'm like, how come you cannot say this to yourself like when you're talking? But anyways, I just want you to know that as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself. Stay optimistic right now is going to be key. Sometimes we can allow fears to kind of bubble up, and it's this Venus and Scorpio, where it's just self-sabotaging. I mean, overthinking things. And that's something we've been through, the last month is this, having thoughts sneak in, worries, fears. And yeah, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's just this energy that we've been in and still moving through. Now, this new moon is also going to be forming an conjunction to Uranus, which is also adding to the unstable energy, right? And conjunctions can be very psychological, also very unseen. And so, Uranus can be bringing in something to shake. Almost to bringing in something to shake your belief systems in some way to show you, where do these belief systems need to change? What do you need to shift here in order to reach your highest timeline, to reach your highest potential, to stay optimistic and positive? Is there something that you need to shift? Those thoughts when they come in, whether it's fear-based thoughts, negative thoughts, whatever the case is, and transmuting that is going to be important and staying optimistic. That's really the most important thing here is, staying positive, finding the positivity in whatever it is that you're navigating right now. And just knowing that no matter what, you're going to get through this. You're going to be okay. Just don't get in your own way. Don't overthink. Don't self-sabotage, based on, illusions or delusions or, things that you can create through your subconscious or in your mind through these, fear-based thoughts. And that's a lot of what we're navigating. Now, even with the Mercury retrograding, Mercury in Capricorn very much wants a plan. This is an energy of needing a plan, and this is, and because it's a retrograde energy, we're going to be, rethinking this, really thinking about, what is the plan moving forward? What type of plan do I need to set for myself so that this doesn't happen? And again, this can be around belief systems, and we'll get into when we get into all 12 rising signs, you'll get a better idea of how this energy is showing up in the areas of life. But having Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius is shifting our belief systems as an individual and as a collective. There's going to be a lot showing up collectively over the next few weeks, changing a lot of people's belief systems. Even once we get into January, there's a lot of exposure coming. There's a lot of disclosure. There's a lot that's going to be showing up and coming to the surface that's going to be rocking a lot of people's belief systems and shifting that and changing that. And that's a lot of what we're navigating with this. And we also have Mars. Like we have Mars in Sagittarius. Mars is traveling behind the sun and the moon, which is applying pressure to the new moon, where there's this internal urge to move forward, to go after something. But again, it's the lack of clarity, the lack of knowing. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe you're not supposed to know right now. Maybe you're just supposed to trust. Maybe you're just supposed to go with it and trust divine timing. And always just tell yourself, no matter what happens, you're going to be okay. Find the positivity in whatever it is that you're navigating right now. Stay optimistic. Once we get into the new year, everything is going to piece together and things will become a lot more clearer. We also have this new moon connecting to the nodes, the lunar nodes. What is it that needs to be released here? There's an opportunity to, this could be an opportunity from the past coming in that can be beautiful for a new beginning, for a new adventure. And, having the North Node in Aries, I've been talking a lot about self-empowerment, self-development. What is it that you need to change about yourself in order to get to your highest timeline, to your highest, direction and journey, and become the greatest version of yourself? This new moon is kind of also highlighting that around belief systems. What belief systems have been holding you back from attaining your highest timeline or moving down that path that you want to move down, that you're optimistic about, but there's fears holding you back. What are those fears that are holding you back? It's time to release those fears. It's time to let those fears go. This new moon, there's just a lot here around, belief systems and, reevaluating, what What belief systems have you had in the past that was either self-sabotaging or holding you back in some way, creating internal fears? It's time to release those. It's time to let those go. And with this Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, figure out a plan on how to do that. Figure out, create, and make a plan so that moving forward, you don't have these fears or negative emotions or thoughts holding you back in some way. And so I hope this aligns with you and resonates with you. We're in a lot of interesting energy at the moment. And, I know that this Neptune energy has been difficult for everyone, and even Mercury connecting to Neptune, where there's, just mentally, I mean, a lot of astrologers have been talking about, mental health right now is going through it. And the best way to kind of navigate this is to stay positive. Write your affirmations, journal. If you need some alone time, meditate, figure out what you have to do for yourself so that you can stay positive, so that you can know that you're okay no matter what. Taking care of your energy. I know that it's winter time, it's hard to ground, but doing what you have to do in order to take care of your energy and just yourself in general, Aries, that is going to be key. And so I hope that this helps you navigate the energies for this new moon and Mercury retrograde. And now let's get into all 12 rising signs. Aries, you have this new moon in Sagittarius happening in your ninth house of higher education, higher knowledge, long distance travel, philosophy, religion, belief systems. So there's a lot of focus on these themes and topics, but there's also something new. This is a great time for you to set intentions around these themes and topics. Now, because we're having Mercury station retrograding at 8 degrees of Capricorn, which is in your 10th house of career and public reputation, and moving back to 22 degrees of Sagittarius, which is your ninth house, there's something around career and public reputation and belief systems, or those ninth house themes and topics, that you are reevaluating, rethinking, redirecting in some way. Once we get into the new year, there will be more clarity around that. But there's a lot going on with your belief systems and career at this time that may be confusing. You may not know. There may be like a lack of clarity of direction. If that is the case, once we get into the new year, things will start to piece together and make more sense. There will be a clear path ahead. You will know the direction that you need to move in. And also, your belief systems are going through massive changes. Maybe belief systems that were once in alignment with you, you are now ready to release and let go of. Staying optimistic at this time is going to be key. Taurus, you have this new moon in Sagittarius happening in your eighth house of your partner's finances, money coming in from outside resources, taxes, inheritance, psychological healing and transformation, also death. Now, Mercury is going to be stationing retrograde at 8 degrees of Capricorn, which is in your ninth house of belief systems, higher education, higher knowledge, philosophy, long distance travel. And so these themes and topics are front and center right now. There's a lack of clarity around these themes and topics. You're rethinking something, reevaluating something. Maybe your partner is rethinking something around their finances or going through something, that's around their finances that they're having to navigate. Or this could have to do with maybe you trying to get money from some type of outside resources and you're having to wait a little bit longer, or there's a lack of clarity around that. Now, once we get into the new year, whatever you are moving through right now that is confusing, that you're having a hard time kind of focusing on, or even, developing a clear path ahead and knowing the direction you want to move in. Once we get into the new year and we have Jupiter direct and we have this Mercury station direct on January 1st, things will start to piece together and make sense. The key right now is to stay positive and and stay optimistic. That can sometimes be a little bit challenging with Jupiter retrograde, and that's really what is needed at this time so that we don't self-undo, self-sabotage, and get in our own way. Gemini, you have this new moon in Sagittarius happening in your 7th house of relationships, partnerships, close personal connections. So this is a great time to set intentions for relationships. There may be more focus around relationships at this time. Now with Mercury retrograde, Mercury is going to station retrograde at 8 degrees of Capricorn, which is in your 8th house of your partner's finances, money coming in from outside resources, taxes and inheritance, death, psychological healing and transformation. Mercury is going to retrograde at 8 degrees of Capricorn and move back into Sagittarius to 22 degrees. And so there's something about the 7th and 8th house themes and topics that you are reevaluating, come the end of the year. Once we get into the new year and we have Jupiter direct, Mercury direct, things will start to piece together. So right now, if there is, not a lot of clarity around relationships or not a lot of clarity around maybe your partner's finances or the direction that you need to move in with relationships, or even, if you're waiting for money to come in from an outside resource of some kind, if there's a lack of clarity around that right now, once we get into the new year, things will start to make sense and piece together. Now, the key right now is to stay optimistic and follow the positivity. What right now is positive in your life? Hold on to that. It can sometimes be challenging when we have Jupiter retrograde. And so that really is the key at this time, so that you don't get in your own way, you don't overthink, especially with this Mercury retrograde. Cancer, you have this new moon in Sagittarius happening in your 6th house of work, health, and daily routine. And so there may be more focus on these themes and topics. There may be, this is actually a great time for you to set intentions around maybe starting a new routine for the new year, or maybe a new work routine, nutrition habits, health routine of some kind. Now, Mercury is going to be stationing retrograde at 8 degrees of Capricorn, which is in your 7th house of relationships, one-on-one connections. And Mercury is going to retrograde back into the 6th house, your 6th house, at 22 degrees of Sagittarius. So there's something around relationships and one-on-one connections, business partnerships, and daily routines that you are rethinking and reevaluating. Now, if there is confusion around these areas of life at this time, just know that once we get into the new year and we have Jupiter direct, Mercury direct, things will start to piece together. This is a reevaluation period. This is a time to reflect, relax, sit with the energy, not really make any forward movements, but follow the positivity. Stay optimistic. That is key at this time, so that you don't get in your own head, you don't overthink, you don't self-undo or self-sabotage. Always trust in divine timing. Know that you are on your highest timeline, and that will help you navigate the sticky energy at this time. Leo, you are having this new moon in Sagittarius in your 5th house of children, creativity, passion, romance, pleasure, fun. So this is a great time for you to set intentions around those themes and topics. There may be a little bit more focus on those themes and topics. Now, we're having Mercury station retrograde at 8 degrees of Capricorn, which is in your 6th house of work, health, and daily routine. So where this new moon is a great time to set intentions for the 5th house themes and topics, there's also something in that area of life that you are reevaluating, when it has to do with your 5th house and your 6th house, your daily routine, your creativity, your romance, passion, pleasure, fun, and work, right? Work is in the 6th house as well. So there's something that you're reevaluating in these areas of life. There may not be a lot of clarity at this time. However, once we get into the new year and we have Jupiter direct and we have Mercury direct, things will start to piece together and come together for you. The confusion will kind of subside. The key right now is to stay optimistic and hold on to the positivity. What right now is positive moving forward? Hold on to that. Say your affirmations. Know that you're on your highest timeline. Trust divine timing. And that is what is going to help get everyone through this sticky energy that we are navigating over the next few weeks. You want to make sure that you are not overthinking, self-sabotaging, or self-undoing, based off of lower vibrational frequencies, energies, or fears, because that energy is also, kind of heightened at this time with all this Neptune energy. And so, holding on to that positivity, staying optimistic is going to help you get through this energy at this time. Virgo, you have this new moon in Sagittarius happening in your fourth house of home, family, property, real estate. So this is a great time for you to set intentions around those themes and topics. Now you have Mercury, which Mercury is your chart ruler, and Mercury is going to be stationing retrograde at 8 degrees of Capricorn, which is in your fifth house of creativity, children, romance, passion, pleasure, play, fun, hobbies, interests. So there's something around those themes and topics that you are reevaluating, and also something you're reevaluating around your home and your family. Now, whatever you're kind of navigating at this time that can be confusing, holding on to the positivity and staying optimistic is going to get you through this energy. Once we get into the new year and we have Jupiter direct and Mercury direct, things will start to piece together and you will have a better understanding of the direction that you need to move in. We have to be careful of self-undoing and self-sabotaging behaviors, overthinking things, getting in our own way because of all of this Neptune energy. So just having that self-awareness of catching thoughts when they kind of sneak in, staying optimistic, staying positive, and focusing on that is going to help you get through this sticky energy. Libra, you have this new moon in Sagittarius happening in your third house of communication, your mindset, community, neighbors, neighborhood, vehicles, local travel. So this is a great time to set intentions for those themes and topics. Now you have Mercury stationing retrograde at 8 degrees of Capricorn, which is in your fourth house of home, family, property, and real estate. Mercury is going to move back to 22 degrees of Sagittarius in your third house. So there's something about these third and fourth house themes and topics that you are reevaluating and rethinking. There may be a lot of confusion in this area of life at this time, especially with all this Neptune energy. We have to be careful that we are not self-undoing, self-sabotaging, allowing fear-based thoughts affect our experience and situation right now. And so holding on to the positivity, staying optimistic is key for navigating this energy. Once we have Jupiter station direct and Mercury station direct, January 1st, coming into the new year, whatever is confusing around these areas of life or whatever you are reevaluating, things will start to be pieced together and you will have more clarity around that once we get into the new year. Scorpio, you have this new moon in Sagittarius happening in your second house of money, finances, material possessions, and your values. So this is a great time to set intentions around money and your material possessions and values. Now, Mercury is going to be stationing retrograde at 8 degrees of Capricorn, which is in your third house of community, neighbors, communication, mindset, vehicles. And so there may be something around your second and your third house themes and topics that you are reevaluating at this time. There may be a lot of confusion around these, in this area of life. Once we get into the new year, things will start to piece together. There will be more clarity around the direction that you should move in. When it has to do with these themes and topics, we have Jupiter stationing direct December 30th or 31st, depending on your time zone. And we have Mercury stationing direct on January 1st. So once we get into the new year, things do start to make more sense. Now, the key right now is to stay optimistic, hold on to the positivity, in your life and focus on that because that's going to help get you through all this sticky energy. We have to be careful of self-sabotaging and self-undoing right now with all this Neptune energy. And so holding on to that positivity, trusting that you're always on your highest timeline and trusting in divine timing is going to be key to get you through all of this sticky energy. Sagittarius, you have this new moon happening in your first house. This is your new moon. So the first house has to do with you, the self, your personality, your character, your physical body, your perception. And so, even having Mercury retrograding back into your first house, there's a lot of reevaluating your personal direction at this time, what you want to do for 2024. Mercury is going to station retrograde at 8 degrees of Capricorn, which is in your second house of money, finances, and material possessions and your values. And so there's something about this first and second house themes and topics, you and your money, your material possessions that you are reevaluating at this time. There can even be a lack of clarity around, this new direction that you're wanting to take. With all the Neptune energy at play right now, it's very easy to self-sabotage, to self-undo, to allow, negative thoughts or behaviors to come in and sneak in and kind of, self-sabotage. And so holding on to the optimism and staying positive at this time is going to help you navigate this energy that you are currently in. Once we get into the new year, things will start to piece together. There will be more clarity around this new direction that you're thinking about taking right now, and around your money and your finances. Capricorn, you have this new moon in Sagittarius happening in your 12th house of spirituality, karmic energy, places that are hidden like hospitals, asylums, retreat centers, things that are hidden just in general. Self-undoing and self-sabotaging can also be in the 12th house. And so right now you really have to focus on this because we have a lot of, Neptune energy right now. And then having this new moon in the 12th house, you really have to have that self-awareness and be careful of any self-undoing behaviors or patterns kind of sneaking in at this time. Now, Mercury is going to station retrograde at 8 degrees of Capricorn in your first house and retrograde back into your 12th house to 22 degrees of Sagittarius. And so there's something around the 12th and the first house themes and topics that you are reevaluating. And the first house is you, your personality, your character, your physical body, the direction that you want to take. And there's a lot of reevaluation going on around this new direction that you want to take. And there's a lack of clarity because of Jupiter retrograde and the Mercury stationing retrograde. And so once we get into the new year, whatever you've been reevaluating and rethinking at this time, there's going to be more clarity around that coming into the new year. Now is a time to just kind of sit with the energy, stay optimistic, stay positive, hold on to that because that's going to help get you through this sticky energy. Aquarius, you have this new moon in Sagittarius happening in your 11th house of friends and friendships, social groups, online connections, social media. So this is a great time for you to set intentions around those themes and topics. Now we're going to have Mercury station retrograde at 8 degrees of Capricorn, which is in your 12th house of spirituality, self-undoing, places that are hidden, karmic energy. And so you really do have to be mindful of any self-undoing habits or tendencies kind of coming up at this time, especially with all the Neptune energy as well. This is really a time to just hold on to that optimism and stay positive and hold on to the positive things in your life that will help you get through this sticky energy. Whatever you're rethinking at this time and whatever you're reevaluating with this Mercury retrograde, once we get into the new year, things will start to piece together and you will have more clarity around the direction that you want to move in. Pisces, you have this new moon in Sagittarius happening in your 10th house of career and public reputation. So this is a great time for you to set intentions around your career. Now we have Mercury stationing retrograde at 8 degrees of Capricorn, which is in your 11th house of friends and friendships, social groups, online connections. And so there's something around, your 11th house and your 10th house that you are reevaluating, maybe thinking about new career choices or a new direction that you're wanting to take with your career, or maybe even around friends and friendships. There's something you're reevaluating. Now, we do have to be careful of any self-undoing tendencies at this time with the Neptune energy, overthinking things or getting in our own way based off of fears and subconscious beliefs. And so having that self-awareness is going to be key, and holding on to that optimism and positivity is going to help you get through this energy. Once we get into the new year and we have Jupiter direct and Mercury direct, things will start to piece together. There will be more clarity around this new direction that you are taking.